And we saw in that previous video where we created our welcome message, we also added an input and we added our welcome message. Now what I want to do is I want to change this. I want to give the person another chance to re-enter that information if they've got it incorrect, because they might have entered something wrong. They might want a capital letter, they might want lowercase letters, they might have made a spelling mistake. So rather than locking them in, we're going to give them one more chance. So we're not going to use any loops, we're just going to give them one more chance to change what their username is if they would like to. And to do that we need to use an if statement. So if we said, so your name, so let's say your username is, and then we're going to do our plus, and then we're going to do username, like so. Now let's run that. It's always a good idea to check your coding as you go and then run it so that we see that we're getting the desired effect as we go through. You don't want to have pages and pages of code and then try and fix it after you've written loads of it. So it's good to go line by line or a couple of lines at a time just to check that everything's working correctly. Now we want to add an if statement here, and we're going to have this as a new input. So let's call this just response. You can call this whatever variable you want as long as it is not a function already within Python. So you can't use the variable print. So I couldn't replace response with print, for example, because that is already used by Python. It already has its own job. So it has to be something that isn't used already. So response isn't used already. And we're going to say input, let's say yes or no. Now this is going to be their response. Now we start using an if statement. So if I type if response is equal to yes, then I will have something that is done if this condition is met. So I write it as if, and then bracket, response equals, speech marks, capital Y, and then ES, so yes, and then I've got close bracket and then colon. When we hit enter, you'll notice that it's left a gap here. This is tabbing across, and this is equal to 1 tab or 4 spaces. So it slides across, so it means that the program reads down, and when it gets here, if this condition is met, it starts reading diagonally, so it moves across 1 tab. So here we're going to say print. So is their response correct? So their name is correct. So basically, if we're happy with that, we're just going to say, let's just do the welcome message here. So welcome, and then do their username, and then a plus, space to my application. So basically, if they are happy that that is their response, so if we say yes there, then we will do something else. So it's going to basically say, if yes, do this. Now we're going to have an elif. Now this is basically like else if. So this is if it is not that response. So if response now is equal to, let's say, no, like so. And we're basically replicating this, but this time for no. Let's print another chance to change your username. Okay, and then what we can do is we can then change this and just copy that and paste that here. So we're just repeating the program, we're repeating the sequence here. So if I run this, so let's say John, and let's say I choose yes. Okay, so it's done that, and then it ends the program, so it doesn't run whatever's in the no. But let's see what happens if I do this. So let's type over here, and let's do Smith, and let's say no. Okay, so let's change it there. Now we can't see if that's correct or not, so what we're going to do now is we're going to copy this print here. So now, once this is done, it's then going to print and end the application and print the program. So if we do John, make sure I've clicked over on the right, So let's do John. No, let's change it to Smith. Okay, so originally we entered John, we say no, want to change it Smith, and now it says welcome to my application. So that works quite well. However, what you might have noticed, if I do Harry for example, and then type no, nothing happens, even though I've typed no. Now the reason it does that is because Python literally takes it as a capital N and a lowercase o. So what you need to do is you can add an OR function in here. So if you do if response equals no with a lowercase, and we added OR response equal to yes with a lowercase, this will work now. So it means that if I then do a lowercase, it will still accept the answer because we've told it to accept either or. You could add more ORs here, and you could add OR response, let's say response equal to, let's say N for example, and you might want to go further and then add an uppercase N and all those sorts of options, and you can do that all the way across if you want to, but we just want to have the ones that are reasonably accepted, so we're going to do no, lowercase and uppercase.